G'day guys, I'm here today. I'm going to install a TV bracket in my daughter's room up on the wall over there, and I've had this for a little while. I bought it for when I do the stud wall on the butler's pantry, and I thought what better time to test it out. It's a little elaborate, but let's see how it goes. Let's have a look inside. This is the Milwaukee laser level, the green industrial green laser. It's 360 degrees vertical and horizontal plane. Let's have a look at this bad boy. So it literally will do in this vertical plane, that vertical plane as across, and horizontal from up there. Alright, we'll just switch it on and give you a quick squiz at what it looks like. So it's flashing because I've got to keep it level. And I'll just press the button, and now we have a crosshair, and it's in pendulum mode, which means it'll take up to 4 degrees at a level and level itself, or you can fix it in a level position. But yeah, it works great in there. See how it's wobbling? It's because it's on a pendulum, but once it sits still, it'll just level itself out. Alright, we'll set this up. It actually came with the Milwaukee tripod over there. So I'm going to switch it off. We'll mount it on the tripod, which is very easy. Tripod comes with this. See that tapered little attachment at the bottom? You screw that to the bottom of this bracket, and this bracket can swivel, and that fits onto the tripod. Let's get into it. And it's on. And this is what we're going to be installing. Now I've got some measurements. I know there's a stud 615 millimeters out from that corner. There's a stud, and I need a height to the bottom of the bracket of 1,835 millimeters to the base of there. Now I could just measure out and measure up, but I'm going to put the laser crosshairs up there and then measure the crosshairs to where I am. Turn it on. Okay, I'm sure we're going to have to go up. Alright, so that needs a bit more. But to make it easier, because this is a 360 degree laser, I don't have to be over there where I can't reach to measure it. I can measure it here. So we need to come down a little bit further. So I'll adjust the height of the tripod. And I can measure it here. And that's bang on 1835. Exactly what I need. Okay. But I do need 615 out from the wall. So we're going to come out to about here. Around there somewhere. There's a fine adjuster on it so that we can adjust it. There we go. Forgot about that. Rather than having to move the whole tripod, there's a fine adjuster on there, and that's it. We're bang on what we need. Basically, the horizontal line is the base of where the bracket goes, and the vertical line is the center of the stud. So that'll be the vertical plane, the center of the bracket. Okay, we'll just explain what I'm going to do here. These are the screws to actually fix the bracket to the wall. I've got hardwood studs, so I really need to pre-drill because that hardwood is over 23 years old and it's going to be hard, really hard, because it's so dry. So I'm going to pre-drill, and to work out what size drill you need, basically I take the original, the screw that I'm going to be using, and then I use a drill, and I try, and you don't want it too big, you don't want it too small, but a bit smaller is better than going a little bit too big if you don't have the right drill size. So this drill size, and you overlap it with the body of the screw, and see how you can see the screw, I suppose you'd call it, the threads are larger than the drill bit. So you know that once you drill the hole, that when you put this in the screw, you're going to have room for the body to go into the hole, but the actual flutes of the screw are going to bite into the wood, so it won't be loose. That's what you're looking for. Okay, now you can go smaller if you don't have the size. Like this is pretty much the perfect size for this. I don't know if it'll focus, because you can see a large amount of flute on each side. So this is virtually the perfect size drill for this screw. But if you only have a bigger one and it looks a little too big, go a smaller one, because this will still work its way in, and it'll be easier than no hole at all. But you want to make sure that it's smaller so that your flutes bite into the timber. The reason you pre-drill is that, one, I've got an impact drill, so it would still go in, but you don't want to split the wood when you're driving it in. And if it's really hard and it's really tight going in, there's a possibility you could shear the screw off, and you don't want that either. So pre-drilling is, if you've got pine studs, you probably don't need to. It'll probably bite in, or just a small, maybe a 2mm drill, depending on the size of the screws you're using. 2mm is way. This is probably about nearly a 4mm drill bit, this one here. So yeah, 2mm in pine will give you the guiding that you need without hoping to split the wood. But pine's so soft, so this will just, it doesn't even really need it in pine. But if you just want to make sure you don't split the wood, pre-drill it with a smaller drill bit, much smaller than that, and you won't have any issues. All right, we'll get into it. Hopefully, I might set you up on the other side, get a better angle, so I'm not blocking you. So we want that on the line, and we just want to mark the hole there. Pre-drill out. Okay, I want this on the lowest setting because I don't want to shear it off. I don't know how good this is. Okay, now the reason I went in and out is because if you can impact it all the way in, just that'll more than do it. But I don't know the quality of this screw. This came with the packet, so I'd give it a couple of impacts. It will go in, and then I'd back it out. And as you go in and as you're impacting with this bolt is getting hot, and it gets really hot. Like I'm touching now, I can barely keep my fingers on it before it's too hot. And as it gets hot, it gets soft and it can shear off very easily. So yeah, in and out helps with the cooling, also makes it easier with the momentum going back in to drive it in further and to less chance of you shearing it off. So I'll just grab a different bolt because that one's still quite warm. Have it resting on the top of the bolt. That way it can't go down any further than that. Okay, and we're relatively central. Okay, now I can still move that left and right, but it is nice and tight all on its own. To make sure this bracket's level, I'm going to move the vertical plane of the laser to the right side of the bracket, and then we can adjust the bracket to make it level with the laser. On the laser, so now I can see wall. I'll just go back until it disappears, come back out. I'm looking at the bottom, so I can see laser on the wall now. So I mean, for all purposes of this, that's pretty spot on. And I'm not too happy about this bracket. It's a good bracket, but design is a little flawed. Is at the top there, it has 2 screw holes, and you get 3 screws, but the problem with that is they're almost as wide as the stud. So unless you drive them in on an angle, you're most likely going to miss your stud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a new hole on the center. This has a load capacity of 22 kilos, and this is the TV that I'm using, and I could hold it like that. I'd be lucky if that weighs 5 or 6 kilos. So I'm going to drill a hole in the center of the bracket there, and then I will remount it because I know I'm going to hit stud then. If I go to the outside ones, I'm going to have to drive them in on an angle to make sure I hit stud, and I don't really want to do that. I really rather one just right in the center. So I'll do that, and then I'll come back and we'll finish the mounting. Okay, so the hole has been drilled in the center there, and I've pre-drilled into the plaster and the stud behind it. There's a little bit of play there to get it level after I installed it, because the bolt is smaller than the hole. So there we are. Now all that's needed is to mount the TV. We're nice and level with the bracket using the laser, and I didn't have to put any marks along the wall to facilitate this. A little bit of measuring, but this is probably overkill for what I've done. But if you had, you know, multiple things to put on the wall, like pictures and stuff like that, this would really come in handy. And I'm looking forward to using it when I do the stud wall, because it puts a line on the ground as well. As you can see, oops, as you can see, it goes along the bed and along the ceiling. It's a 360 degree in the horizontal and the vertical plane. So anywhere in the room you can put it, as long as you're not blocking it with yourself, but it'll go through around you if you do. But yeah, you can get a line in a cross on the floor, on the ceiling, on the wall, yeah, wherever you really want it. And so it's going to make doing that stud wall a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to mount the TV, and we'll plug it in, and then at a later date we'll get a PowerPoint installed up there near the TV. There's no TV point. They don't watch normal TV, but when I get the PowerPoint installed, I'll also install a TV point because they use Netflix, and if they want to watch normal TV, there's always the streaming for the normal TV shows anyway, if they want to watch them, until I can get the antenna connected for that. All right, I'll put the TV on and we'll be done. Okay, so had a little bit of a problem with the bracket mounting to the actual TV. The holes match up to the bracket, but they were in the wrong orientation, and we need the tilt faction, because obviously my daughter will probably be lying down on bed when she watches TV, and we need it angled down. And if we rotated this 90 degrees so the holes matched up, she wouldn't get that tilt ability. So it came with these little extensions, and I think that's meant for a larger TV, but I'm going to use it to mount off the TV holes to one of the holes on the bracket, because they're slotted. You've got multiple choices of where you can line it up, and so they don't hit anything, I'm going with like that. So that's what I'm doing. I did have to scrounge for some hardware. They do supply hardware for doing this job, but it's strange. This bracket here has a square hole, and this screw has a square on the inside of it. So that is meant to go in there, and then when the square lines up with there, it won't allow the bracket to rotate. As you can see, I'm holding it, it's not rotating it. But the problem with doing that is there's no way to drive the screw to tighten it from the back, and I really can't see how it's going to work unless it's bolted from behind. But the problem is the instructions show that this is the end. This end here is the end that screws onto the TV, so you can't put a nut on it from the other side to tighten it. So to save all the confusion, I've scrounged around and I've found four of these to do the same job. So let's finish putting it in. I've already put 3 on. They're loose, they're not tight. That's pretty tight, and now we can nip up these ones. Again, you don't want to go too tight because they'll strip. Just sort of the leverage until you get flex, and then you know you can't go any further, because it is all mounted into plastic, and plastic will break easily. So just test them, and they're on quite tight now, so I think we're good to go. Now we just need to remount it onto the bracket through there. Right, we've got one side in the hole. We need to line up the bottom. There it is, it's just dropped in now. You don't want it too loose, you don't want it too tight. It's a little too loose, so we'll give it a bit more. And I think I like that. That's going to do it. Just nip up the bolts for the tilt on the angle a bit, so it doesn't flop around if she does decide to tilt it up a bit. But I think that's probably a really good angle for when she's laying down on the bed to watch some TV. She'll be very happy when she comes home. She's been waiting it for a little while. Finally got some free time and I thought I'd put it up. Alright, so there we are, folks. Thanks for joining me. Hope you got something out of it. Please like and subscribe. Always doing little jobs around the house. So you might find something else you like. See you later.